Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. Hello. No, you haven't caught me doing my scales. I'm not a singer, although as you can tell, I've got a beautiful voice. I was basically showing what most websites sound like when you read them. So, what I want to talk about today is how you should speak to your customers and not just at them. But first, weather's picking up. I'm wearing a t-shirt today. I think I'll take off winter hat and put on the lighter weight summer hat. There we go. So, one of the things that I kind of find when I'm looking at brand comms, and particularly websites, is there's a huge focus from most businesses to talk about what they do, to talk about how they do it, to talk about who they are, and to talk about what their services and products offer. Now, ask yourself, is a potential buyer going to see themselves in that messaging? Surely the correct thing is to formulate your comms, your messaging, around the problems that your potential customers are having, so they see themselves in the problems. In fact, I say surely, I mean absolutely, okay? So there's a golden ratio, and this hasn't come from nowhere. This has come from copywriting legend and record can lion holder Steve Harrison. And he says, for every time you talk about we, I, or us, you should talk about you, your, you are 3 times at least. So 3-to-1 ratio is the golden ratio. Now, I was doing some research for a client recently when I was doing some analysis of their competitive set. I was absolutely blown away. I'd actually seen something I'd not seen before. So I'm used to seeing a disbalance, an imbalance, probably the correct word, where instead of the 3-to-1 of you to we, it's maybe 1-to-3. Sometimes it's more than that. But the first 2 competitors I reviewed, they had 0 references of you. There was no message, there was no line, there was nothing there for the potential buyer to see themselves in. It was all just we, I, us, we. And quite frankly, it just leaves you cold. Now, we know that people tend to buy when they feel emotionally connected. Okay, and that doesn't mean love, it doesn't mean anything kind of highfalutin, but it means that they're able to connect mentally on a mental and emotional level with something. So if you're calling something out, let's say, for example, let's take an example right now. So let's say you are a software company that provides simplified CRM, okay? Now, you could go the route of saying, we have a CRM, it's the best CRM in the world, it's the simplest, us, we, here are all the features. Or you could say something like, are you struggling with your CRM? If you are, take a look at this. Reaching out to people, connecting to them on a meaningful level. But sadly, it just doesn't seem to happen. And so when I'm looking at kind of starting with a new client or looking at a kind of brand refresh, let's say, or repositioning of a brand, one of the things that almost always comes up is that we need to be more human. We need to speak to people, not at them. And so it's simple, really. Steve set the basis for us, 3-to-1. Do that. Have a look at your website. Have a look at your website. Not so much your LinkedIn, because that is you presenting yourself. Of course, it still helps to talk about the problems you solve, don't get me wrong. And the About Us page, well, obviously it's about us, literally. But if every other page is as we heavy, strange term, we us heavy, rather than urine heavy, don't know why I went there. If every other page is as we heavy as your About Us page, you're doing it wrong. So, take a look at your website. You can copy paste into ChatGPT. You can copy paste into a Word doc and search the terms and just look at what the balance is and ask yourself, are we speaking to our potential customer, or are we just shouting about ourselves? Because one is going to have better business outcomes than the other. Anyway, do you know what? I think I might do some singing, you know. Maybe I will work on my things. Me. Do you think I could be a baritone or a bass? Me. Or a me falsetto? I'm not really sure where to go, but me should only be for singing. Shouldn't be for your website. End it.